I can't say enough good things about the leadership that we have in lacrosse right now, and Paul and Mike being at the top of that list.
Talking about something that certainly touched a lot of people, and one of the things that we have here in our partnership at 76 Capital on the philanthropic side of things is with the Headstrong Foundation.
Mm,
And I don't know if Mark, we've ever discussed this, but the relationship that we have there, and how my partner Chad Stender is on the board of the Headstrong Foundation, and how we integrate them into a number of the different events that we do, and really trying to raise the awareness and the amazing things that they do, and how it came out of it all started with a Hofstra lacrosse player.
yeah. Pat texted me, Kalori, the other day, actually, and I did not know the connection. And to your point, they do great work. And for those who don't know, they, as a foundation, honor the Kalori family and provide homes in and around cancer facilities for young patients and families who need that type of support as that a young man or woman goes through cancer treatments. And they do tremendous work. They have a very strong connection to the game of lacrosse, as you know, through Hofstra and Hofstra Lacrosse, and they do great work. They do great work, and they're very well known. And the connection and support that you all have for them is wonderful because they do impactful work. I think they've got a Philly house, a Boston house. I think they're working on a Carolina house, and they hustle and they work hard to raise those funds, but the impact that they are having for those families is profound.
Yeah, it's really incredible what they do, and really just the fact that how tight, how important it is to the overall game, and how they work with all the different colleges and all the different programs that raise money, raise the awareness, and also just the idea of helping others and trying to make this world a better place is a big thing for us at 76 and for them, and I know for you as well. And like it's just a really good group to be part of, and a good group for us to have this relationship with. And it's amazing every time I'll just see all the different colleges and different tournaments and all the things that they have going on, and it's all around lacrosse.
For sure. I mean, there's a couple charities that really align closely, historically, year over year with lacrosse, and Headstrong is at the top of the list.
Well, one of the things I wanted to touch on, and certainly you really can't, it's almost like having a technology conversation and not saying AI. We've been talking lacrosse, and we haven't said anything about the Rabil brothers yet. So, like that, to me, Paul Rabil was one of the guys who really opened my eyes to the game of lacrosse. Just to see what an impact that he's had now, what he and his brother are doing with the PLL, and just that the fact that they're making it work, right? It's unbelievable what they've been able to do so far. And as you said, having them as one of your partners in with USA Lacrosse, and just thinking about what they've done for the game, the visibility and putting it all out there. I mean, it must have a really incredible impact for you, and also just a place for the professional level with them and NLL and WLL. I mean, to have those things, and for you to be able to aspire to be a professional player is a really important thing for the game.
Well, I can't say enough good things about the leadership that we have in lacrosse right now, and Paul and Mike being at the top of that list, along with Brett and a couple other leaders that we work with around the game. What you really identified there, I think, is so important, is to have a commercially viable, relevant, exciting professional league and leagues, because you do need that as you are a young kid and you're deciding, where am I going to invest my time? Yes, I might love this game, but I'm also possibly looking for competitive outcomes. And that competitive outcome certainly might be, playing at the high school level, might be playing at the collegiate level, it might be pro, it might be U.S. national team. And that ladder of play is critical. And having a pro league that Paul and Mike have been able to do the outdoor league. Now they've introduced the women's outdoor league with it. They've raised the visibility of the sport. They are smart, savvy. They've brought in great investors, and anytime you get good investors and smart money, you got to make smart decisions about being commercially viable as a sport. And they've been able to do that. Now, listen, we all know launching a sport league, it's hard work. Like, it's not glamour. It's not all social posts. It's not all LinkedIn and Instagram and Reels and everything. Like, it's really hard work, and they've done it. And their ability as brothers and family members to do that, I actually marvel at that, because I'm sure it has its moments. But I think they've done a great job of carving out their areas of expertise, and deferring to each other, whether it's the business side or the, kind of the marketing and positioning side. They've done that effectively, and we work very closely with them. They're part of our Elevate 28 group, which is a group that I was able to put together with the PLL and NLL and World Lacrosse and Josai Sports and the Men's and Women's College Coaches Associations, to come together, all focused on getting more kids the opportunity to play. And Paul and Mike are right, in the middle of that. In fact, I will be with Paul and Brett and a few others on Capitol Hill next week, advocating with lawmakers around youth sport, NCAA. That's the level of coordination and communication that we have in working together. So I've got nothing but props for them, and supporting them and their success, because their success is ultimately our success as a game.
That's really tremendous to hear. I mean, I love hearing how you're able to all work together and really lift up the game. That's such an important thing to do.
Brett, and again, I'm going to give credit to the leaders, because it takes a whole group here. And I was just having this conversation, as I said before this call, with Brett Fruden, and he said it best, like, we don't compete with each other the way people think we do. And I think that's really important to recognize, is if you play it right, and look what the NHL, the NHLPA, and USA Hockey did to come together around the Four Nations Cup, and then ultimately led to the Olympics. I mean, everybody benefits from that. And we are in the same mode as you look at lacrosse. And what happens when that doesn't happen? And look with baseball. You had baseball players not getting the Olympics. The World Baseball Classic struggled a little bit for those years. Now you're starting to see some momentum around that. And the World Baseball Classic is a pretty good event. So how do they replicate that moving forward for the Olympics and the like? So for us, and see with the NBA is another good example, we have to do that. For us not to work together, we're doing not only the game a disservice, we're doing our organizations a disservice, we're doing our fans, our constituents, our sponsors, our media partners, all a disservice if we don't work together. But as Brett noted, which I think is right, we don't compete in the way that people think we might. Our calendars overlap. There's always a challenge with that. But the reality is that our commercial success is good by demonstrating the value of lacrosse. PLL or NLL or WLL's commercial success is good for reinforcing the value of investing in lacrosse. And if that has commercial value, we might get the same by either a competitor or the same partner who wants to reinvest. And so that elevates all of us. It's not competition in the way people think. And with this leadership group, we've done a pretty good job of working through some of the challenges maybe that we've had, but more times than not, we agree on the trajectory of where we want to go and how to get there.
Well, you certainly play a very important part of all of that, really bringing up, the next generation of players. And, not only, but yes, it's USA Lacrosse, the Olympics are coming up, but this is a global game. And, you shared with me in Las Vegas the other countries that will be competing or hope to be in the Olympics as well. Who are some of the other, what are some of the other countries that have very strong lacrosse programs?
Sure. So Canada for sure. U.S. and Canada battle pretty regularly. The Haudenosaunee, which is a Native American team, is fantastic. Japan is really good. Australia, Great Britain, Ireland, Israel, Jamaica. Those are probably some of your best. There's 90 nations in World Lacrosse. World Lacrosse is our international federation, which is comparable to FIFA or FIBA, in soccer and basketball, respectively. They've done a great job of bringing on board a lot of new nations. That's been part of the initiative, is not just getting into the Olympics, but certainly understanding this is a global opportunity for both men and women. And they've done a great job expanding that. And what the Olympics also does, it brings in investment in these other nations. When you're an Olympic sport, that government's sport ministry then invests. So Canada is just getting 7-figure investments for the lacrosse, which they never had before from the government. Australia is the same. It's been the same in South Korea and Japan. They're getting, and these are public information. They're getting investments from their sport ministries to support lacrosse. That did not happen pre-Olympics. So the Olympics is not only about that big moment, but it's also about the investment that happens in other nations to drive both growth, parity, higher level of competition. In the U.S., we don't get government dollars. We're the only nation in the world that does not get government dollars. We got to do everything we do privately funded. We certainly work with the USOPC in support, but ultimately we got to look in the mirror and raise our own funds. But it's good for the game when that happens. The competitive gap is closing. That's the challenge because you got to keep pace with it. But ultimately, that's good for the game.